Welcome to the Way Out podcast, and I'm here with legendary, no other than Schenectady native who has done it at every level. This man has a credible journey. He's have a proven record. He's a testament to what it takes when you put your time, your energy, your passion, your hard work, your will, determination. I mean, every superlative that I can come up with, that I can name to describe this gentleman and his journey and his career, he's worthy of all of it. He's been he's a Schenectady native. He's been a champion at Schenectady, brought a 1998 state champ to Schenectady. We'll get into that. He went on to have a great career at the collegiate level, where he had all kind of records that we'll get into later. Some among them is being leading scorer in the Big Ten. John Wooden MVP, held that twice, then went on to the college level. I mean, I tell you, man, Will, when I was really just writing down your championships, not saying them, when I was writing down your championships, I ran out of breath. Three Bulgarian championships, two-time Bulgarian Finals MVP, one Bulgarian Cup, one friendship. I'll get into describing all that and go into the litany of all those things a little bit later in the show. But it's a pleasure to have you on. I welcome you. Welcome to the show.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. You know, thank you for reaching out to me and having me on the show. You know, it's people like you that help keep my name alive, really. And I'm truly humbled and grateful. So thank you for sharing your platform with me.
Oh, no problem. It's my pleasure. Now, starting off, just talk to me, like I alluded to earlier, a Schenectady native. So talk to me a little bit about growing up in Schenectady and what was that like?
Well, you know, Schenectady is a small town, considered a small town, but it's easy to get caught up. It's easy to get caught up. It takes a lot of patience. Takes a lot of choices. You're gonna get put in a lot of situations where you know you're faced with having to make a decision that could change the rest of your life. So it was real tough. But at the same time, I wouldn't change where I grew up. I wouldn't change where I grew up. You know, if I could do it all over again, I'd grow up in Schenectady again.
Good. So talk to me a little bit about your parents, and you could start with your parents and talk to me a little bit about their influence on you and how they helped you in your journey as well.
Well, you know, my parents were really influential on my life. And not only my parents though, because back growing up.
Yeah, what I was going to do is I was going to come with a two-part question and get into the other people in Schenectady period that was influential as well. I just wanted to start with your parents.
Okay, all right, yeah. So, well, you know, this is something personally I'm going to share with everybody. But you know, my mother had 2 miscarriages. So before she had me, so I was her first son. And so when she did have me, she was, you know, truly grateful and but she kept a real short leash. Like my mother and my father, they were real strict and tough on me growing up. But you know, I really didn't understand why they were so tough on me at the time. But I understand it now, and I'm definitely grateful that they were as tough as they were on me, because it allowed me to turn into the man that I am today.
Now, talk to me a little bit about your dad, because I know your dad, man. I actually had by the way, was you the favorite because of that? Was you the favorite child?
No.
Having 2 miscarriages, then finally getting you. Did you end up being the favorite child?
Well, you know, my parents, they had 2 more after me. So I have two younger brothers. We're all very, very close in age. But, you know, I was able to enjoy them by myself for a little while. But then, you know, the 2 other ones came and I wasn't a baby anymore.
Yeah, more crumb snatchers coming on the way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so I had an opportunity to actually work in some quarters with your dad, and I tell you, your dad has a strong personality. I would say.
Definitely
Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir. Well, you know, he's the era that he grew up in. You know, he went to the first Million Man March, so you know you can understand what kind of discipline and tough skin he had to have to make it up back in the 60s and stuff, when in segregation and you know, slavery and people were getting hung, and you know, all kinds of things. And on top of that, he grew up in the South. He grew up in Virginia. You know, my father's not originally from New York. He's originally from Virginia, and he moved up here. So you know, he has a very strong personality, and you know, sometimes his personality may be off-putting to some, or his personality may be too strong for people to work with him. But he's strong on people that he loves. You know, so if he was tough on you, it wasn't because he was being difficult. It's because he wants you to be the best you. And he comes from a military background. My father was in the military, and like I said, the era that he grew up in, you had to have tough skin to make it out of that era. Like the racism and stuff that we go through now is minuscule compared to what he has experienced.
Oh yeah, it was definitely more blatant, right up in your wall, in your face. Couldn't even sit at a counter to have a lunch or anything of that sort. You know, yeah, absolutely. Now, like going on, like I stated earlier, talk to me about Schenectady and, you know, the other people that had, you know, influences on you growing up, that whole hub of basketball and the culture and the people and caring and loving on you. Talk about some of those people that had some of those influences on you as well growing up.
Well, see, growing up, like everybody knew my parents. I had a big family. The majority of my family lived on Hamilton Hill. Me, myself, personally, I was raised by Central Park. But I spent a lot of time with my grandmother on Page Street, and you know, and when the time that I spent with my grandmother, she gave me a long leash, but she gave me a long leash because she knew I wasn't going to get into trouble. She knew I was a person who was going to be where he said he was going to be, and I was going to be home when she needed me to be home. But my grandmother probably after my parents was probably the most influential person in my life. And then after that, I'd have to say Coach DiNola, who was my high school coach. He was tougher on me than my dad was. So you know, that's just a testament to how tough he was. You know, we had many a fights. It didn't get physical, but you know, he's kicked me out of practice many times, but I at the time I didn't understand it. But I get it now. I got it later, but it was all just tough love, and they just, you know, Coach D and my grandmother and my parents, they just wanted the best for me, and you know, I'm indebted to them, because I wouldn't be who I am now without, you know, that tough love that I have. And I think that's really what's missing in the community, because back when I was growing up, like anybody's parents that knew your parents could discipline you.
Right.
So, you know, some reason we've gotten away from that. But you know, I looked at that back then as other people's parents holding you accountable for your actions too. And we've, you know, as a community, we've gone away from that for some reason.
Yeah, we strayed away from that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we went more into an individualism type of society. And once we went there, because we had the concept of the village in place, you know,
Right.
And once we went away from the whole village concept and went into an individual type of mentality and aspect, it caused a divide in our community. Then now, instead of the neighbors taking care of you and people looking out for your community, then it just became a divide where people are only looking out for themselves. And that's the state we find ourselves in right now, unfortunately, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
now you fast forward, you go through the process playing Schenectady basketball as a youngster. Now you're at Schenectady High. We can fast forward there. I mean, tell me about that. We just talked about DiNola, and one of the things that he did was, from what I understand, and I read your comments when you said as a freshman he believed in you and you didn't even realize you would get that opportunity. And one of the things he did was he gutted the team. Like he kind of like came in and got rid of the seniors and the juniors and guys who he felt didn't want to conform to what he was, trying to disseminate to them. And it opened up the door for you and gave you opportunity. Talk to me about that and what happened with that process?
Okay, so my relationship with D goes back to the camps that he used to hold at Mount Pleasant. Mm-hmm. So I used to attend his basketball camps that he used to hold at Mount Pleasant because he went to Mount Pleasant. My mother and all my mother's brothers and sisters went to Mount Pleasant. So they knew each other. Coach mm-hmm. D knew what kind of parents that he was dealing with when he started recruiting me, because like elementary school, I went to a Catholic elementary school. Unfortunately, the school was no longer around, but I went to St. John's from kindergarten to 6th grade, and then I went to CBA for 7th and 8th. I was at CBA for 2 years. I was at CBA for 7th and 8th grade before going to Schenectady High. And the reason why my parents allowed me to go to Schenectady High School when Coach D got the job is because they knew, they knew what he was about. Right. They knew he wasn't gonna let me mess around with my grades or anything. So they trusted in him, and they trusted in me to stay disciplined enough and make the right decisions while attending Schenectady High School. Because if I started messing up, I mean, they would have straightened me out, or I wouldn't even have been able to go there. So.
And the rest is history, as they say, because you went on to Schenectady, and I guess the move that Coach DiNola did, it paid off. The move that he did actually paid off. You guys went on and, took a run at a state championship, which y'all conquered, the 1998 state championship. Talk to me a little bit about that process, about that team. Take me on that journey a little bit about that process. And you started as a freshman, so you had to probably take some lumps along the way and then eventually climb the hill to get to the apex. Talk to me a little bit about that process in that state.
Okay, so initially, like before I went to Schenectady High School, like when I decided to leave CBA and go the public route, I had no intentions of playing varsity. That's what some people misunderstand. They think Coach D recruited me and saved a spot for me to play on varsity. That wasn't the case. Nothing is handed to you by Coach DiNola. Mm-hmm. Anybody that knows him knows that you have to earn every bit of playing time. You have to earn your spot on the team. There's no automatic spots. Just because you were on the team last year doesn't mean that you're going to be on the team for the following year. As you can see, the previous team that Coach Abba had right before Coach DiNola had, and I went there as a freshman. There were only 2 players, maybe 3 that were on the team from the previous year, and all of those dudes were now seniors. So right. So just to let you know what kind of coach and what kind of disciplinarian Coach DiNola was, but I had no intentions of playing varsity. I went to Schenectady High School, and I was like, I'm just gonna play freshman, average 50, and just relax.
Right.
For real. But Coach DiNola had another plan that I didn't know anything about. And one day, Justin Henderson, great friend to this day, man. I love Justin Henderson, you know, with all of my heart, man. He grabbed me up in the hallway one time, because this was after like intramurals had started at Schenectady High School. So we had started intramurals, and I wasn't going to the intramurals because like I said, I had no intentions of playing varsity, but it wasn't just for varsity. It was supposed to be freshmen to seniors were supposed to go to this open gym intramurals and play.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't going.
Mm-hmm.
And so one time I'm walking in the hallway, and my big man Justin Henderson, he just grabbed me by the collar.
Yeah.
And you know, like we like tussling, and then
Right.
like, yo, I take my headphones off, like, yo, what you doing? And like he grabbed me, and, you know, I'm not gonna say what he said because it's not for the young
Yeah.
viewers, you know.
I get a sense of what he said. What the okay.
But really, he's like, you know, you messing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you messing up. He's like, you don't understand the opportunity that you're throwing away, you know. And I still didn't know what he was talking about back then.
Right.
But I just knew, like, okay, well, let me start going to these intramurals
Mm-hmm.
and see, you know, just see what's going on. And so, you know, Justin, I don't know if Coach D put him up to it or if it was just because, I mean, I don't think so, because Justin, he was that kind of leader.
Okay.
You know, he was one of those dudes that, like, if you were messing up, he was gonna tell you were messing up right to your face. And so, you know, that's one of the things that I always loved about him. Like, he doesn't hold his tongue for anybody. And he definitely didn't hold it for me that day.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, but it was good. I needed to hear that.
Right.
And it worked. It got me in there. And you know, like you said, the rest is history, because when I got in there, I was showing up.
Yeah. I'm almost venturing out to believe that you, not that you underestimated your talent, but it appears that you really didn't understand the magnitude of your talent, and others did, and maybe not so much yourself. Is that a fair assessment to say?
Right. So I didn't, you know, I was a very hard worker, like, but I never really saw my talent.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that I definitely worked for.
Right.
You know, I definitely put in the work, you know, early mornings, late nights.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when I was playing, it came easy.
Right.
But I really didn't know. I really couldn't judge where I was.
We were
compared to anybody else, you know.
And that's the beauty of it, because what I can tell from the individual that you are, the beauty of it is that when your head is down so much and you're working, you don't get up to smell the roses, you don't look up and read your press clippings, you're always looking at what I need to do better. How can I further improve? So while everybody else is over here talking about how good you are, you're over here saying, nah, I still got to work on my shot. I still got to work on this.
Right.
I put this work in. And so sometimes that's a good thing when you don't realize or look up to see how good you are. These days, you know, it's a total different story. But I surmise that kind of was your situation.
Yeah, like you said, I never sat and analyzed how good I was. I was always focused on a road of continuous improvement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like, okay, I'm dunking now with the right, I want to dunk with the left, or I'm jumping off 1 feet, I want to jump off 2 feet now, or okay, I got this turnaround over the right, I want to turn around over the left, or I got this finger over the right, I want the finger over the left now. You know, so I never was one to do something and then be like, okay, I'm nice, or I got that. It was like, all right, I got that, I want this now. You know, so
always reaching for the next thing. Now, talk to me a little bit about the championship. Now, you guys go and you host the trophy.
Right. So I mean, it was a long road. It was a long road because like anybody that knows, because my freshman year was the first year of the schools merging, Mount Pleasant and Schenectady High School.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of people that were against it. The team prior to me coming there was known for their reputation, and it wasn't a good reputation, even though we had some great players that were playing there before I arrived. Anytime Schenectady was playing, because I've gone to a few games, it eventually turned into like brawls and technical fouls and guys getting thrown out of the game, so when Coach D blew the team up, we started from scratch, so we were getting smacked by everybody. I remember my freshman year when we were playing against BG, and they ran the score up on us. When they had Joe Taylor, Anton Weiss,
Yeah.
Kasif Hamid,
Yeah.
Antonio Delgado, and it was Eric Mingo. They had a squad and they had like 6'8". Tone was 6'6".
Yeah,
They
that was
had,
one of the better Bishop McGinn teams, period.
yeah, they were like their starting five. Their starting five was 6'6" and up. So it was like, they were definitely a team to be reckoned with, and they were the powerhouse. Them and Albany High were the powerhouses. My freshman year. Of course, you had Bishop McGinn. That was definitely solid. They always had good teams. But it was a long road, and I remember when we had those seasons where we only won like 5 games, and then every year we were getting better and better. And I really think the turning point was it was either my sophomore or junior year on varsity. I was playing with Karan Williams, Al Barnhill, and we played against Albany High, and my man Al dunked on my man Russell Johnson. My fault, Russ. Hope you're not watching, but yeah,
That wasn't the one when he
that
fell
was
into.
at home. That was at home, and
Y'all was at home.
And everybody ran out on the court.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Everybody ran out on the court. That like what? Because that was like the real rival, and we hadn't been able to get over that hump since I had been there.
Right.
And even before then, like Albany was always getting the better of us, but I don't know, when Al dunked on Russ that night and the stands cleared and ran out on the court, like that was like the turning point for Schenectady. Like, we're here.
Yeah, it was a new coming to basketball, because I remember even being like, I'm an Albany High alumnus, and I was sitting there and I was thinking about the game I watched at Albany High when Jason McKrieth, I think it is, dunked on my man. He fell into the support, and I was like, yo, I'm jealous of these dudes. These Schenectady dudes. Schenectady Albany always got that rivalry. I said, these dudes have arrived. Real talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it started back then with Al, because then McKrieth, we had McKrieth come in, and he was my young guy. That was my dude. He was the freshman. He was the one that was gonna carry the torch. After we had left, and he did, and they did a great job. They won states after us. He and Ray.
Yeah.
They did a great job, and we should have had more after that.
That's a
like
fact.
when Cheeks came, and my cousin Zabe and everybody.
That's a fact.
And but
and you guys came into like within like a game of winning the Federation title against Rice, man.
Right.
Like, I heard y'all was up in that game in the whole 9 yards, yo.
Well, no excuses. They beat us. They beat us. But I truly believe, deep down in my heart, because we had that game, but I didn't understand the rules, because at the time, I guess in the city, they don't play with a shot clock.
Mm-hmm.
So we played with a shot clock. So
That's a fact.
we were beating them. They came and caught up, and then they started playing that delay game basketball. And you know, we had to end up fouling them, and they were making their free throws. My man Andre Barry, he was making his free throws, and it was just tough once they had got the lead, because we weren't used to playing with no shot clock.
Right.
It was, you know,
absolutely. And you wouldn't think that a New York City team, that's
right.
ironic that a New York City team would pull it out and play the star game. Them guys got it on the gas pedal all the time.
Exactly. You had Kenny Satterfield, you had the Gatorade Player of the Year, Ant Glover, you had Andre Barrett. You know, you wouldn't think that they're going to be out there playing delay game basketball. They're up tempo. They go.
Right. They out there playing hot potato with the ball.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't them. No, it had to come from their coach. You know, that was, you know,
That's a good point.
Once they got the league, you know, why shoot if you don't have to?
Yeah.
Then they foul. You got to foul their best free throw shooter, and that's pretty much automatic 2 points. And then so then we just, you know, they won, but I don't feel like we lost. I just say we ran out of time.
I got you. Now talk to me about playing with a fellow pro and Jakey Thomas, and talk about your relationship with him and things of that sort.
Yeah, no, Jake is you know, his nickname on the team. He was Horse. That was our horse, man. That's my brother, man. I love him. And yo, I couldn't have done it without him. Like, basketball is a team game. Like, I know that a lot of people on our team don't get as much recognition as they should, because you know, I didn't win anything, and I wouldn't have won anything without those guys that I went to war with, without Coach D, without Jake, you know, without James Plowden, you know, guys like Haley and those guys. Like, the thing that was special about our team, Pat, Justin, like, the thing that was special about our team is that everybody had a role, everybody accepted their role, everybody understood their role, and they gave everything they had. There was no egos on our team. Nobody was jealous of the next man. You know, everybody just came out there and did their job. Jamar Sims, you know, Davidic, like, even if Ben Wiles, like, even if you were a practice player, you were the best practice player you could be. You know, you were there to foul and grab and hold and try to get the starters or the players out of their game. That was your role, and everybody accepted. I think that's the toughest thing for coaches now, is to get players to accept their role.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody wants to be a star. Everybody can't be a star. You know, and you know,
that's a good point.
Right. You know, so you know, there's nothing wrong with aspiring to be a star, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's a team game, and sometimes, you know, people have to sacrifice what they feel they can do for the betterment of the team, or accept the role that the coach has for you. And you know, we had that on our team, and that's what made us so special. Because, you know, some people say, "Oh, you guys weren't that good." It wasn't about that. You can win with less talent when people buy into your system. You know, because look how many great teams can't win a game. Too many stars, too many egos. We didn't have that. So that's why we were able to beat teams that people thought were better than us.
Yeah, man. I mean, your record spoke for itself. You didn't lose until the last game of the possible season. I mean, you win that game, you're talking about an undefeated season and a Federation title as well. So you definitely had the right recipe and the right mix for success. And people have to, and that's a good point. I can imagine now with coaches, man, having help kids define their roles when everybody want to be a Steph Curry, everybody want to be a LeBron, and things that aren't so fashionable, and trying to get them to buy into what their real skill set is about. That is a challenge, and that's a good point that you bring up, actually.
Not only that, now you have the parent factor, where all the parents are NBA coaches, and it's like, why isn't my son playing and stuff like. There's only so many spots on the team. Majority of coaches only go 8 deep.
Right.
After 8, it's gonna be pretty much no minutes. You just have to.
That's a fact, and that's the way of it. But you're right. Another good point. The parents. That's a whole nother show, actually.
Right.
So you go ahead and you move on. You successfully conquered what you want in high school. Then you go on and you spent a brief stint. I feel at Boston College, correct?
Yep.
Then you had moved on to Purdue. Talk about the stay at Boston College and then the move on to Purdue.
Okay, so I'll touch on Boston College briefly. I don't want to talk bad about a university, because Boston College is a great university, and it was definitely had high academic standards, but so everybody that knows me from high school knows that I had the braids and the cornrows, and that was an issue at Boston College.
Wow.
That was an issue not only with the coaches. I think it was an issue with the university, because there's not a lot of African Americans that were going to Boston College at the time, and if they were on a sports team. So they definitely didn't have people there with braids. And then you also know, I don't know if you've ever been to Massachusetts or Boston.
Yes.
Their mentality.
Yeah.
So
they had the busing riots and all that up there when they were busing kids into school, trying to integrate the schools up there. They were known for really attacking the buses with the kids on the bus. That was during integration.
Right.
So yes, indeed.
So I had some elements that I brought with me that I had when they were recruiting me, but they lied to get me there, and then they wanted to change it when I arrived, and I didn't take that very well, and then so ultimately, before at the end of the season, they felt that it was best we went our separate ways, and but if it would have happened this day in this era, then I would have had a lawsuit. But
Right.
it was back then. It was back in 98, 99.
Right.
And they got away with one.
Gotcha.
But the thing that hurt the most was I went there because they had a black coach, and then he did me dirty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, damn, I go there to play for a brother.
Right.
And I get done dirty by a brother. Like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there were a lot of funny things going on, because he wasn't even man enough to have a conversation with me about, yo, Will, listen, this is where we are right here. I think it would be the best thing if you did this, or we didn't even have that conversation. I just still to this day, like I don't have the respect that I feel that I should have for him, just by the way he treated me there. And the thing, like I said, that hurts the most is because it happened to me from my own people, man.
Right.
That hurts the most, man.
Yeah, man. And a lot of times what you start to realize, man, is that when you get in these situations and circumstances, man, that's why I always say sometimes no matter what, it comes down to circumstance and situation, and people will do certain things just because of the content of their character, regardless of race, color, creed, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
But But that's the thing. It's like my hair has nothing to do with my academics. My hair has nothing to do with the way I'm carrying myself on and off campus. My hair has nothing to do with how I'm playing out there on the court. The fans didn't have any problems with it anywhere that I went.
Mm-hmm.
They loved me. Snoop. They used to call me Snoop everywhere everywhere I went. You know, so and that was ultimately the reason why I didn't cut my hair, because it's like, listen, one, I had it before I even came here. You said it wouldn't be an issue, so you shouldn't have lied to me then,
right,
to get me there, and then so you lied to get me there, and then also it's like, judge me by the content of my character and not my hair.
absolutely.
My hair has nothing to do with my character.
And it's funny you say that, because we haven't had cases now that here it is. You was going through that back in 1990-ish, wherever, going to 2000. And we got situations now where we got schools talking about the kid can't be admitted because he won't cut his dreads and different things of that nature. Still shows you where the mindset of certain people are, and it's even to this day.
Right.
It's very unfortunate.
You could be a 4.0 student, and then they saying something about your dreads.
About your hair. Exactly. Like, you can't make this stuff up for real. So
right,
they may do it.
Like the one, like I don't remember the one one of the announcers, remember they said something about a young lady that went to Rutgers?
Yes.
Who had dreads? Like
it was he called them nappy headed hoes.
Nappy, right.
Or something to that degree. Nappy headed or something to that degree.
Yeah,
I can't think of his name either. It's missing me right now, but
right. Yeah. It's not important. We don't want to give him any.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. So
right, but it was like, why would you say that about that student athlete?
Mm-hmm.
They obviously they were smart enough to get into Rutgers.
Facts.
So it's and they're on the team, and you're gonna call them out of their name. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, absolutely, no question about it. So I don't know. It was a situation that obviously wasn't the right setting for you, and you move on to Purdue. So talk to me a little bit about that journey and moving on to Purdue, and how was that like moving on to that, from going from Boston College to Purdue?
Okay, so what the Purdue situation was, actually I had no intentions of playing basketball at Boston College. So my father was working at the time for GE, and his job was moved from Schenectady out to Fort Wayne. So that's how we ended up out in Indiana.
Oh, okay.
And so after I left Boston College, I just went home, like, to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then my dad had enrolled me in classes at Purdue. And but little did I know that, like, my dad had a whole different plan, because he had already spoke to the assistant at the time. His name was Frank Kendricks. He already spoke to the assistant about me and was asking how I could walk on the team.
Right.
But I didn't know anything about any
of
this. So I'm going to classes and stuff, and I think I take 2 classes over the summer. I meet a couple of the guys on the team: Mike Robinson, Jerron Cornell, Brian Cardinal, Carson Cunningham, and I start to Gary McKrieth, rest in peace. But I start to establish relationships with people on the team, and also in the co-rec. Very good friend of mine, young lady won at every level, Yukari Figs, and so I started forming relationships with them, and started playing in Mackey and in the co-rec where everybody from the school plays, and so word just started to travel, like, yo, there's this guy came here from New York, and people just started to see that that I could play, and they just start asking questions, and then I would just get invited to different places to play, and then I started playing against some of the guys at Purdue. And I got called into the office one time by Frank Kendricks. Frank Kendricks was
Hold on.
the,
Sorry, keep that in mind. Frank Kendricks. Keep that thought right there. That's where we're at. You mean to tell me that going from Boston to Purdue, it wasn't a transitional thing with ball in your head? I thought maybe the coach reached out to you, or you reached out to the coach.
No.
Didn't work out. You was being recruited. You had another school to go to. It was another opportunity. That's what I was under the auspice of, that happened. So that didn't happen. You actually was just chilling, dad behind the scenes, working some things out. And here you are on campus doing your thing, Frank Kendrick.
Right. So before I went to Purdue, Dad was reaching out without my knowledge to see how I could try out and be a walk-on. So because I mean, they had a scholarship left, but they saved their scholarships and but in any case, Frank Kendricks, he was the head assistant coach. He's the one that got Big Dog Robinson and all those guys to come to Purdue. So he was real influential in getting the dudes from Gary, Indiana, and the dudes from the urban areas to come to Purdue. Ultimately he ended up becoming the fall guy for Purdue and the illegal recruiting that they got in trouble for at the time. But I'm very thankful for him to this day, because it was he who had that man-to-man conversation about me and was able to get me to cut my hair just so that I could have a fair shot at trying out to being a walk-on at Purdue. So
awesome. And it's crazy because now the Purdue don't have a problem with the braids, and you go on at Purdue, and also I meant to mention is also you being an all-time leading scorer at Schenectady High. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, surpassing legendary Pat Riley. I meant to make mention of that earlier. At Purdue, you went on to be the Big Ten Conference leading scorer your junior year, Big Ten first team selection as a junior, co-scoring title holder as a senior, John Wooden Team MVP award winner. You had this MVP title for 2 consecutive years as a junior and a senior, which was a Boilermaker record previously held by another other than Big Dog Glenn Robinson, who we know was one of the most dominant, successful players at Purdue.
Right.
And he went on and had a successful NBA career. And you surpassed this dude at Purdue. Talk to me about this process, man.
We didn't make as much noise as Big Dog, man. Big Dog is the legend, man. For real. But that's my guy. He used to come back and show some love, man. I remember he used to come back with the reins, the flip-flop paint he had on there. But he used to look out though, man. So big up to Big Dog, man. Like Brad Miller too. Brad Miller used to come back, kick it with us when he went to the NBA with the Bulls. He was with Charlotte and the Bulls. So I still have a very good relationship with Brian Cardinal, Jerron Cornell, and Mike Robinson and those guys. But
and worth mentioning, you also was noted as one of the top 50 legends in Purdue history as well.
Right. So in 2019, they sat down and put all the players in Purdue history in front of them, and I'm truly honored and humbled by not only being I'm probably the only walk-on the list that wasn't recruited, but it's a great honor to be selected, with all the great players that came through Purdue, like Rick Mount and Big Dog and Brad Miller and all those guys who had long careers in the NBA and stuff, and You know, my guy Conzo Martin, he's doing his thing.
Now, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Oh yeah, no. Cause I'm sorry, because I was talking to Fields, and he was like, yo, he was the leading scorer and like leading the Big Ten in scoring. He was coming off the bench. Like,
right.
Like the coach asked you, like, yo, can you come off the bench? And you came off the bench and was still the Big Ten leading scorer, yo. Like,
right. Like I was
right now. You're tearing it up. I remember watching you, and I'm like, this dude is putting in work. What's going through your mind right now? You had a situation in Boston College, kind of was sour on you in the situation.
Right.
Now you transition to Purdue, Big Ten Conference, nothing to sneeze at by any stretch of the imagination, and you're tearing it up. What is happening? What's going through your mind, man? I know you're a mild-mannered dude. You humble. Give me a little humble brag here, man. What was going on in your mind?
No, it was just because once, like the reason why I chose 0, and it's crazy that because let me just say this real quick before I get into it, that myself, James Thomas, and Lionel all had the same number, and we hadn't spoken to each other at all.
Wow, that's a fact.
You know, I chose 0 because, you know, I came there with nothing. You know, I was starting from scratch. I don't know why Lionel and Jake
chose 0, right?
To this day. But it's crazy how 3 kids from the Capital District, like from pretty much the same area,
yes,
all choose the same number in NCAA. And it's funny too that I played against Lionel twice, and I played against Jake in college. So
wow.
It's you know, everything came full circle, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, so to get back to your question and stuff, like when I came there with nothing, and I just treated every practice and every game like it was just a new beginning for me. I didn't even, you know, I didn't even think I'd be playing again after what I do, and once I got the opportunity, I just made sure that I made the best of it.
Got you. Now, so you have a successful career at Purdue and everything, and so now, of course, having that kind of accolades with that type of resume, one is starting. I know your mind is starting to think NBA, draft, opportunity, things of that nature. Talk to me about that process and what was going through your mind and that transition.
Right. So let me go back real quick, because a lot of people don't know that I declared for the draft after my junior year. After I led the Big Ten in scoring, I declared for the draft, and I did not sign with an agent, which was ultimately the reason why I was able to come back. But I you know, I'm not gonna say anything, you know, because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But but you know, like mysteriously, my invitation never arrived until after the deadline. And you know, my father still has the invitation here. He has it somewhere in a scrapbook. But
Yeah.
but I ended up pulling out thinking I didn't get invited, and that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. So I, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, no name, no blame.
Yeah.
But mysteriously, I declared for the draft. My invitation didn't show up, or showed up and got misplaced or something. But so I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go back and have an even better year, and I did. And so, you know, it perplexes me a little bit on why, you know, I never got a serious NBA look. But I, you know, I have my reasons as to why that was the way it was.
Well, I'm glad you're sharing what you're sharing, though, because a lot of times this is the underbelly of college basketball and things of that nature that people don't talk about, kids aren't aware about, the little
Mm-hmm.
funny games and different of that nature that goes on, that just makes you wonder sometimes and make you go, And given the fact that you had several situations at Boston College being one of them, and then moving on Purdue and having that situation, circumstances where you're not really being advocated for like you would think that someone would, do for you,
Right.
you give your blood, sweat, and tears for them, and that they would only hold you back for their own personal reasons, that as we may suspect. I understand totally.
Right.
So anyhow, like, it didn't stop your flow.
I'm thankful that there is Europe out there.
Right.
And
that's what I'm moving on to. I mean, like I said, it didn't stop your flow. You went on to play for Europe, man. And I'm going to say this because I really, to try to break down every stop that you went to and what you did, man, it's just the magnitude of work here. So I'm just going to just run it down. 3 Bulgarian championships, 2-time Bulgarian finals MVP, 1 Bulgarian Cup, 1 French championship, 1 Golmeski Cup, 1 Italian championship, 2 Russian scoring titles, 1 Russian bronze medal, 1 Latvian scoring title, Latvian All-Star MVP. I mean, like I said, when I was writing this, I got tired. I went out of breath. Forget saying it. When I was writing it, I went out of breath. Talk to me about your experience over and playing professional basketball. You're living your dream. Like I tell kids, I don't care. You play professional basketball and get paid for it to do something that you love, you're winning straight up. So talk to me about that process over there.
Right.
How was that?
So, as great an opportunity as it is, I'm just gonna let the viewers know and understand that, yes, we are getting paid to play, paid to play the sport that we love, but at the end of the day, you're a foreigner, and it's a business, because I'll just put it like this. I've been on teams to where I may have been the best player on the team, and I'm like the 7th man off the bench, and or like I'm sharing minutes with a young kid that the team is trying to sell to other teams in the league. And so it's bigger than basketball once you get to the professional level. Even before then, and sometimes this will wear on you over time, because it'll definitely take its toll on you, because it's not the sport becomes less pure.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And when things aren't the way they're supposed to be, it's sometimes tough to swallow, when you've been in it for extended period of time, But aside from that, I was fortunate enough to live all over the world. I lived in Russia when Putin was there.
Yeah.
I lived in Ukraine. I lived in Latvia. All of these countries that some people only see on the Discovery Channel or the History Channel. When I was in Greece, I had an opportunity to go to Egypt and go inside the pyramids, and saw King Tut.
That's my goal, man. That's one of my goals, is to get there.
So all of these things were just it opened my eyes to the world. I became more cultured, and I'm truly thankful for those experiences, because those experiences are what'll stay with you for a lifetime. And to end about overseas with this point right here, like my grandmother, she came and saw me. My grandmother was afraid to fly her whole life.
Yeah.
And she jumped on a plane at 67.
Wow.
And came and saw me out in Greece. And
that's what's up, man.
So that was big right there. Like that hit my heart for real.
Absolutely.
And for her to get over her fear and go out there and come.
What you do that
stay.
game? What you do that game?
I went crazy. Yeah, it was out in Greece. And we had beat a top team too that we weren't supposed to beat. Because we had a much smaller budget than they did.
Okay.
Because when I was in Greece, that was my rookie year.
Okay.
That was my rookie year overseas. I played summer league with a Coach Brown with the Detroit Pistons. My man Tayshaun Prince. Pepe Sanchez, that was the year that they drafted Darko Milicic. That was that year. So, but it was nice, man. I had a chance to get my game critiqued by, NBA legends like Joe Dumars and Coach Larry Brown, and they dropped some jewels that I still keep in my pocket to this day. So
absolutely. So it was a wonderful experience over there. How was it being away from the States and being over there?
It was tough. Like for example, I was in Russia one year, and it was a year nobody spoke English. I was like, it was like a 14-hour difference between New York and where I was. So it was like, it was tough to communicate with people back home. It was like when I was up, they were sleeping. When I was sleeping up,
right.
I was in a city where I was two out of 40,000. I was one of two black people in the city of 40,000.
Wow.
So you had different reactions from the people when you went outside.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
Yeah, so just to say it nicely, some people were accepted. Some people accepted you. Some people, didn't.
Yeah, that's fair to say. That's fair to put it.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about a story real quick. I had a story that I think it was in the interview. You already had won a champion. You won so many champions. You won a championship over there. You were home in the interim, and they was doing the pro-am here, the Capital District pro-am, and all the Schenectady guys were playing. And legend has it that they were playing against D'Agostino, Josh Dole, and all these guys. And you, mild-mannered as you are, you sitting up there with your sneakers under your seat, just watching the game. The Schenectady Cats and Company are down by 20 points. Jakey comes over to you and says, "Yo, what the are you doing? You playing or what?" And he said,
"Well, I came to the game to watch Jake and them play."
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. And they
were down by 20 at halftime. And all of a sudden, you laced them up, and the guy, Phil, told me in the blink of an eye, you guys were up by 20. Is that accurate? Talk to me about that.
No, we didn't go up 20.
Okay.
And, I think we ended up losing by 1, actually.
Okay.
But we did come back and get the lead. We came back and got the lead. It was in the fourth quarter.
Oh, so hold on. So you were just there just to watch Jakey? You just there to watch Jakey?
Yeah, I was there to watch because my guys were playing like from the state championship team. Jake was playing. Mm-hmm. Pat O'Connor was playing. Justin Hoffman was playing. My cousin Prince was playing, and it was like Schenectady. It was like Schenectady's team. So I came to support them.
Oh,
but it was getting so ugly. Like Dags and them were he had like all 3-point shooting team. So he was. They went up quick. They went up quick. So at halftime they were up 20, and the guys dragged me out there. Like I had to find some shoes in the trunk, and we knocked that 20-point lead away, and I think they ended up winning by 1, like a free throw at the end.
Wow. Yeah, he had me rolling on that, man. He said, "Jakey came to me. He said, you got your sneakers?" Like, yeah. On the court. He said before you go. So talk to me about your selection to the Capital District Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that was an honor. That was an honor. You know, like honestly, I even still to this day, like I'm not surprised, but like when I look back at all the accomplishments, sometimes it's even hard for me to believe like that I did so much, because I'm not one of those guys that stops and looks back.
Right.
You know, I'm always one of those guys that like I keep setting my goals, and after I achieve one, I'm on to the next one.
Right.
I don't sit back and gloat and say, oh, look what I did. I don't care about that.
Right.
You know, like it's like, okay, I achieved this goal, let me set another one.
Absolutely.
You know, so I just stay the course. You know, one day when I'm old,
right,
and I'm talking to my grandkids, then
right.
I can go back. Then I can go back and
reflect.
Yeah, grandpa used to do this.
Your grandpa was a bad man. I'm trying to tell you. So we can. I don't want to go miss as well. Schenectady Athletic Hall of Fame. You got that. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like, and being chosen by your alma mater, where it all kind of began. Talk about that feeling real quick as well.
Yeah, you know everything I did was for the city, you know, because at the time when I was growing up and stuff in Schenectady used to get a lot of negative press, you know, and I always wanted to be that guy that came from the city that you know, did something that to make Schenectady proud. And so, you know, I've always you know, carried Schenectady with me wherever I went, and try to represent it in the right way. And hopefully I did that up to this point, and hopefully I can continue to, you know, rep Schenectady in a way where people are proud to say that they're from Schenectady.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Now, aside from all of the basketball stuff and all the accolades of that things, you also done divulged into being a writer and authoring a book.
Right.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that process as well.
Okay, so I've always been a writer, because you know, I do a lot of thinking, a lot of self reflecting, and writing was always a form of therapy for me. You know, writing is a tool that I used to put things down on paper that maybe I necessarily wasn't ready to share at the time, or I just needed to get off my chest, and maybe I didn't have anybody around to listen to me talk, or to gain some insight from. So that's where writing started for me. But the book came about it started. I have to you know, attribute that to my daughters, because every night before bed, like, my daughters would request a bedtime story. And this is actually a story that I told my oldest daughter, and she continually requested it. So after her second time of requesting it, I decided to write it down so that it could be well organized, and I had no intentions of publishing it initially, because I was just going to get it printed and give to my daughters as a keepsake for, you know, long after I'm gone.
Absolutely.
But I let some people read it, some unbiased opinions, some educators and some teachers and stuff, and they encouraged me to put it out. And then when I sat and thought about it, I was like, you know what, they're absolutely right, because a lot of parents and kids can benefit from the book, because, you know, you may have a kid who's in a household to where his parents aren't comfortable expressing their love to them via touch or verbally.
Right.
And if this is the only form that the kid knows, then he or she may be making the unfortunate mistake of thinking that their parents don't love them. And so this was the main reason why I put the book out, because I would hate a kid to not know all of the ways of showing and recognizing that he or she is loved, just because maybe their parents aren't comfortable expressing love in the form that they know.
Beautiful. Let's take a look at you.
Sarah, wake up, wake up, wake up, baby. We overslept. You have to hurry up and get dressed before you are late for school. As I lie in my bed, exhausted from staying up too late the night before, my mother's words sounded like she was speaking to me from underwater. Once she yanked off my covers, the lack of warmth that I was enjoying while underneath my blankets was no more, and the sudden drop in temperature didn't feel as pleasant. As soon as the winter air that had seeped through my window during the night touched my skin, the chill woke me from my daze. I'm awake, Mom, I answered. Okay, good, said Mother. Now let's hurry up and get dressed. I already have your breakfast on the table waiting for you, Sarah. I quickly threw some clothes on before rushing downstairs. As I approached the final 2 steps, I could already smell the mouth-watering aroma.
That's probably been the most fulfilling part of putting the book out, is being able to share it with the kids and exchange dialogue, because that's the future. The kids are the future, and just having the opportunity to go into these schools, these elementary schools, and share my testimony with the children of the future, like that's been the most fulfilling part of publishing the book and myself being an author. I enjoyed that very much, and hopefully we can get back to that. With COVID, I had a lot of school visits that unfortunately had to be canceled, and I felt bad. I mean, I didn't cancel them, but
Right.
It just when school was closed, it was it for the school visits. But I feel a little bad because the kids were enjoying it, and they were just soaking up all the experiences that I was able to share with them, and of course the book and all of their questions that they had for me. I enjoyed that.
Absolutely. I mean, love is the highest vibration on the universe, man. So for you to take on that initiative and want to give that out to kids and share that with them, that experience to make them feel a certain type of way, man, that's excellent. It just shows your diversity. You know what I mean? Being, doing things on and off the court. You know what I mean? So
shout out to Open Door Bookstore. They did my first book signing. They did an amazing job. They forever have my support. I mean, I bought books from Open Door before I had a book signing there, but for them to support me and do my first book signing, I really appreciate Open Door, and they'll always have my support. And shout out to Northshire out in Saratoga too. They showed a lot of love too.
Yep, and you can find your book on Amazon. The title of it is Love, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Love. Find it on Amazon, and I put in the link on when I shared this video, Facebook. It's in the link description that you can go into Amazon and purchase his book as well. So all you viewers out there, it's an excellent book for kids. It's talking about love. We talk about all these other things. Love is really the highest vibration. So you get a chance, purchase this young man's book. Go out there and show some love, because he's giving a lot of love and giving back to the community as well. Now I'm gonna put you on the hot seat a little bit here. All right. All right. So I'll put you on a hot seat as we begin to close out.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you 2 people. All right. I want you to go from your area, and then I want you to go from professional.
Okay.
First, we'll start with the area. If you had one last shot, who would, besides yourself, who would you have take that shot?
Who would I have take the shot?
Besides yourself in the area, and then we can go professional. So I'm giving you 2. So anybody, you got it?
I have my man Lionel. I have my man Lionel take the shot.
Not a bad choice at all. You know what I mean? So, and who would you have professionally?
Professionally, I had to go with Agent Zero. Agent Zero. My time with the Wizards in 2007.
Yeah.
Well, even before then, we played Arizona when they were ranked #1 in the John Wooden tournament in front of John Wooden, and I had a chance to meet John Wooden.
Oh, awesome.
Purdue guy, and man, that was a historical moment for me because he's a legend, man. And
being the recipient of his award in addition to that, absolutely.
Right. So we played my man Gil when he was on Arizona in the John Wooden Classic, and we beat them. They were ranked #1, and then we saw each other again in 2007. Man, we're able to reminisce on the college days and stuff.
Yeah.
But so we had some battles. We had some battles in the gym over in Washington, and but yeah, I probably had my man Agent Zero shoot the last shot.
Got you. Now talk to me about the LeBron. I'm saying the MJ documentary, and personally, where do you stand on that debate, and what do you thought about the documentary?
Okay, well, I worked Jordan's camp and had a chance to play against him and stuff when I was in college. Coach Katie, he used to play golf with Jordan and Charles Barkley and stuff. So he had a good relationship with them, and every year MJ used to let a couple of his guys work his camp, and I was selected to work his camp, and I've had a lot of people have mixed reviews about MJ and mixed interactions with him. But all the interactions that I've had with him were respectful. He took time out to speak with me, and share things with me that I still kept with me to this day, and I'm very, very appreciative of the time that MJ they took out of his schedule just to rap with me, and I still have the camp picture and stuff that we took at the camp, and he's a good dude. He's a good dude. Regardless of how anybody else feels about him, I know his approach to everything political before was to not touch it, but recently I saw that he stepped out of his comfort zone and addressed a couple racial issues that he wasn't happy about, and that's really not what he usually does. So for him to step out of his comfort zone and address some issues that before he would have never touched upon is just letting you know that he's growing, and he can't hold it back anymore. And so
in all fairness, to Michael Jordan, what I want to just tell the viewers as well is too, is like when you're at that level, and I'm not trying to make no excuses, but when you're at that level and you have that much interest in you, and you have that much, when he retired, it affected the stock market. So when you have that many people who are invested in you, you're not really totally your own self in the regard of being able to just go off and say and do as you please. You know what I mean? It's like you're responsible for so much more. We got all this money poured in. We want to stay away from controversial topics, and I may cause people not to want to buy the sneaker, the Gatorade, or whatever. So am I giving them a pass? No, but I just want to give people the other perspective. Because like Mike said it himself, he said, people will say, the whole be like Mike, I wish I could be like Mike. He said, it's not fair to want to just be like Mike for one day, try being Mike like every day. So some of the things that you have to incur at that level, we cannot even begin to ascertain or imagine what you're dealing with when you're dealing with those entities at that level, especially the conglomerate that he was.
Right. Yeah, you know, Mike was looked at under a different microscope, you know, so I couldn't even imagine, you know, walking a day in his shoes with the amount of attention and criticism and amount of eyes that are on this man. You know, he can't even go anywhere, you know, so I wouldn't want to live like that.
Right.
And
that's a fact. And I thought about that, and I said the same thing.
You know, but hats off to my man LeBron though. Like, I really like that LeBron, you know, speaks up for different issues that he doesn't agree with, and because even if, you know, whatever people think about what he says on whatever topic he addresses, whether you like it or not, he's not afraid to say it. And I appreciate that, and it starts conversation. You know, I like people who aren't afraid to stand up for what they believe in, and support it.
Absolutely. Now, my final thing to you is talk to me. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the family aspect of it. You being a father, and you know, reading somewhere where you just said it came to a time where it was just time to take off, exchange the basketball shoes, and just turn my hat on to other endeavors, along with being, you know, full-time dad or what have you. So talk to me about the family component, things of that nature, children, and, you know, X, Y, and Z.
Right. So I had the opportunity to play, you know, 1-2 more years, but you know, my family had sacrificed so much for me that I felt it was just time for me to just turn that page and start the next chapter of my life, and you know, give my family the attention that they deserved and that they sacrificed for so long. So that's where I was at with it, and you know, I'll never regret that decision, and that's why I stopped playing. I just put the family first, you know, like, I mean, they've always been first, but you know, they've sacrificed enough, and now it was my turn.
Awesome. Hey man, I can run out of words without describing you, but what I will tell you is that just being privy to you as a young man and watching your journey and having a chance to, you know, doing this even brought me closer to you, because of course I had to do more digging and research to find out things about you, and just knowing that or from other people I talked to, you're just, even in this telecast, when I wanted you to go really deep on some of the accolades and things that you have done, you still kind of stayed, you know, broad about it. Just shows that you was a team consummate type of person. And the one word that comes to me when I want to describe you is professional. A consummate professional on and off the court. Carry yourself very well. And when you said earlier, your aforementioned statement about you hope that you just made Schenectady proud of you, and that's something that you want to do given the fact of certain historical things and things that took place. Unequivocally, undoubtedly, no question about it, you have done that. You have made them proud. You have made your community proud. You have made your family proud. You have made friends proud. You have set the tone for a lot of younger youth under you coming up to see as a standard, and you continue to do that to this day. And I take my hat off to you. This is one of the primary reasons why I wanted to have you on my show, and I wanted to get you on my show right away. And I thank you for coming on and adoring us with your presence. I look forward to seeing you down the line. I look forward to you doing more great things in your community and giving back, man. I just want to thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate you. Like I said in the beginning, you know, I appreciate you sharing your platform with me, and you know, anything I can do to help you out, you know, please don't hesitate to reach out.
I appreciate that. Definitely. And I will definitely be taking you on upon that. So with that having been said, I'll see you down the road, and I'll take you up on that. And thank you so much once again. All right.
All right, bro.